Hi everyone, welcome to Anovich Tarot. So, I'm going to say this straight away that this video might not be for everyone. In fact, it might not be for anyone because this video is going to be about my story, my experience. Uh, so, if that does not interest you, I understand. You can scroll past or you can skip the video. For anyone that wants to continue listening, I hope that you get some value out of this. If we are of the same mindset, thought process, same energy, same frequency, and if you have been, having the same kind of struggles or mind blocks, then I hope this will add value to you. So, assuming anybody is still watching, if you have watched my previous readings, I did mention the struggle that I was having with my throat chakra, expressing myself, making videos. I haven't been doing readings for a very long time. So this here is my attempt to do what I think I need to do to open my throat chakra, because I've let it sit for quite some time, in that energy, which I am going to be talking about further into this video. But I feel like now is the time where I need to, you know, do things that I need to do to open my throat chakra to be able to express myself. And so this video basically is like a record for me on my channel. This is a record for me for when I need to go back and refer this video for myself at any point in my life. So really, if you don't want to watch it, that's absolutely okay. So there are two videos on my channel that I made last year. One is called The Void, the other is called The Rebirth. Both those videos are talking about my experience in the void and, you know, how I noticed it and, what I did or what was happening during that time. So if you want to go and watch that video, if you haven't, then maybe, that can also have some value for you. That's another one of, me documenting what is happening. At that time when I was in the void, that was me noticing that I'm in the void and, understanding how this works and, trying to understand the energy and to bring it back, or to stabilize, to sustain the energy or the vibration. So in that time, the videos do talk about many synchronicities that happened where I was thinking and it was happening. I was asking, I was receiving. All of those things were happening in that time. And then suddenly everything went quiet again. So I want to talk about that phase, that period. I think this was about September, October, when the energy started becoming quiet. Like, the meditations were getting less frequent. Meditations became very quiet, nothing was happening. I was finding it very difficult to sit in meditation. I still am. I'm not saying that I'm out of that phase now, but in that phase, I feel like this is something that I need to do right now to be able to assist in the energy flow, movement, whatever you want to call it. Things became very silent, very quiet for me. I would sit the entire day trying to, understand what is happening, what I'm feeling, what messages are coming through, what I need to talk about, what I need to understand, what more. I felt like there was a point when I felt like I know everything now. There's nothing more for me to know, and I need to, put this message out to people. I need to talk about it. But I couldn't make any videos, and also one of the reason why I haven't been doing readings also is because, like, all the messages that were coming at that time are things that I've already talked about. I've already made videos on that. I've already done the void. I've already done timeline shifting. Like, I've already done spoken about the new earth energy, what it means. I've already done prayers, communicating with the divine, with your guides, angels, allowing source to flow through you, giving up that control. I've already done all these videos, and I've already spoken about all these things, and those were the same messages that were keeping on coming back to me. And I felt like, I didn't want to repeat myself, and so I was waiting for something really that would stand out to happen, and nothing like that was happening or has happened yet, maybe. So what happened in that time is that when the energy went very silent, I was already going within, right? So I was already paying attention within. So I thought I needed to go further in to understand. And what I understood was, it was teaching me patience. And this is again something that I've already talked about. But it's like things became very quiet, and what I realized in this period is everything that I already knew was coming back to me again during this time. Again, I had to learn patience. I had to learn patience. Yeah, again, I had to remember that I need to be patient at that time. I need to remember that I need to have trust in this time. I needed to remember that I need to hold my frequency. Yeah, speaking of holding the frequency, since the the awareness turned into me in this time so much that I, like, a lot of things dropped from my life. My life went like really, really silent, inside and outside. Like I said, there were no thoughts in my mind, there was no ideas, no inspiration. Like, everything was very quiet. It was very silent. And in the beginning, it was like I understood the silence because I had been there before. I've experienced this before. This is also something I've already talked about. Okay, when things go silent, my recent video on meditation talks about how everything goes silent. And so when it went silent, I understood, like, this is a quiet time. But then the silence started to, like, that the number of days, or the number of weeks, or the number of months started increasing. Okay. And then the panic started to come in, or the doubt started to come in. If I'm missing something over here, is it supposed to be silent for this long? Because I've got to post, I've got to keep my channel running, um, for the algorithm and whatever. I have only 173 subscribers, so I need to look after them at least. you know so all of these things. And but I wasn't like, these things were on my mind. I knew I needed to do it, but there was no motivation, there was no energy for it, because, like, I wasn't feeling connected to anything. Yeah, it was very disconnecting period. So, like, when I say my life went quiet, is gone quiet, like, not just in my mind and in the thoughts and all of those things, but like me meeting people, interacting with people, talking to people. Like, there's no people left, like, yes, there are people, hi bye people, but I couldn't interact with anybody. One is because, like, of course it's this journey and not like many people are on the same vibration. Two is because people are not on the same vibration. The regular conversations, because the energy had become so sensitive at that time, the regular conversations was not something. And I'm not saying that I'm, greater than, again, like I've always, in all of my videos, I've been saying the same thing. It's not about being greater than or less than. It's like you need to do what you need to do for what you're feeling in that time. Okay, we are all important to ourselves at the end of the day. How much ever love and light we are still, self comes first, right? If I can love myself, can I love you? So yeah, I couldn't interact with and have these kind of conversations that were not going to, because I was searching for inspiration and motivation and ideas, and I wanted to know how I can help, how I can put this knowledge or this experience out to bring value to me and to others. Like, value to me, yes, I have to do the work, I have to be the idea and be the thought, but also, you know if I can share this, like I feel like I need to share this information and then these experiences, because people are more and more experiencing this and going to have more experiences like this. And if you understand it, it makes it easier, it lessens the panic, is what I figured. Right, so I don't know how I'm gonna edit this video, my train of thought. I'm bouncing, okay? So that's why I said this video is not for anyone actually. This is my last 19th of Jan. Like, this is a note, okay? This is my journal, and I've been like journaling all my thoughts, my ideas, my experiences. This is the last journal, and trust me, this is not me sitting and scribbling. Like, I felt I needed to, that's why I put a date on it, because I'm not somebody who will randomly, like, start scribbling on, but I felt like I needed to turn to a page and do this. So I'm bouncing, sorry, this is not for you. This is for me and my thoughts. So what happened here, try and explain this again. This is for me, my explanation for myself, to me, for me to remember. There's a little dog over here. This came in the last minute. Don't know if you can see that. So I was sitting in meditation, and then I suddenly felt like I needed to do this, and so I got my copy, and then I started to just draw these random lines. It went like that. And the more I was drawing the lines, then the imagery started to flow, where it's like these thoughts, I don't know what they are, and I don't understand what it means. Like, I'm gonna talk about that also later. Like, the okay. So I don't know what they mean, and so I was drawing them, and then suddenly it comes up here. This is the last part. This is the ending of the drawing. It comes up here and it swirls, like as if, like, all of this is being sucked into the void. Was the image I got when this happened. I don't know why the dog is there though, because I don't know. It was a dog that fell there, and in my creative moment, I felt like the dot looked like a dog, and so I made it a dog. So yeah, this is something that happened in meditation, where, so during that period, I felt like there was a lot of knowledge and a lot of information which I felt, but I couldn't understand. I couldn't put it into words. I couldn't understand what I was feeling, but I was feeling a lot of things, and I knew those things were higher information, but I couldn't understand what it was. Like, it really felt like this, there was this very thin veil over me, and just behind the veil is this information. So when you're seeing it through the veil, you just see like blurred shapes and figures, so you cannot really understand what is behind the veil, but you know that something is there. That is the feeling that I was having in the void, in this time, in this quiet phase. And so that's another reason why I had to cut off from everything that was going to lower my energy or my vibration, or pull my thoughts into a direction that is not really, like, it has no value for me. So I was disconnecting from people because I didn't want to have conversations with people that were not adding value, because I was like, I could feel this information, and I was like really wanting to get my hands on it. And so I was only looking for things or people that could bring that understanding or that information towards me. Like, I really don't mean any disrespect, whatever this might sound like, because they are family, these people. Okay, they are very close to me. I do not have too many friends, and the little that I have, I do really, really respect. But like, I gotta do what I gotta do also, right? So yeah, so that was something that was happening at that time. Quiet, even work wise, things went quiet. Like at my job, at my workplace, where there wasn't anything actually going on. So like, I really had time to, or the ability, or the situation was conducive enough for me to cut out everyone and everything from my life. Like, I wasn't leaving the house, I wasn't talking to people. I'm not depressed, I wasn't depressed, okay? And one thing that did happen to me was, one day I woke up and I felt the need to crochet. So I have been crocheting a lot of stuff, but I'm not selling. I never did it to sell my work or try and sell my work, because crochet is not my thing. I have, like, my patience is very short, and crochet is something like you really need to have patience. But when my mind went silent, and I couldn't think, there was no ideas, there was no motivation, suddenly one day, crochet came to me, and I've been crocheting ever since. So even when I wasn't recording, the only thing that I was doing was crochet. Suddenly had a lot of ideas, and I would look up the tutorials, and I would make stuff. So they're not perfect, because I don't know it and I don't like it, but I was doing it like crazy. I was doing it like all day. This is what I was doing when I wasn't interacting and talking to people. And in that time when I was crocheting, I there was this message of patience that was coming through. Like, I'm not somebody who will, you know if the task is too difficult, like, I'm not going to open it up, redo the whole thing. Like, I'll just go with it. But I was doing that. Like, if I was messing up a stitch, I would really open it up and go back to try and make it as perfect as I can make it. There was this very strange interest that came into me, and in that time, I also feel like in this time I felt, I don't know who, but I did connect with maybe some kind of an ancestor or a grandparent of mine, I don't know. That's how the energy felt at this time. So yeah, so there was a lot of going within. I haven't made notes on this time in the void. I haven't been writing. I haven't been writing about it. I haven't been recording it, like either on my phone or in my journal. I haven't been doing anything other than crocheting. Okay. And so maybe that's the reason why I need to make this video, because there's no record of these experiences, not much at least. So there was a message of patience. There was a message of, seeing how one thought at a time was turning into this end project. Okay. And like I've talked about this in my previous videos also, where about living life consciously, one thought at a time, one intention at a time, how important our intentions are at this time when you're in the void. Because when you're in the void, like things will materialize depending on where your energy is. Here's something that I wrote on the silence, when I realized that I wasn't interacting. I really wanted to have somebody that I could talk to and share these experiences with. And so I wasn't doing this out of my own, like, yes, out of my own, but like not something that I really actually wanted to do. It's something that I needed to do. And so this is a note that I wrote about it's called When It All Falls Away, because that's what it felt like the level of silence. You only, like, if you can only experience it, that's all that I could say at this time. So it says, today I look around and there's no one there. There are a lot of people, but none that I can truly connect with. My life feels like a blank canvas now, in every area, so work and personal. I got here by releasing all that no longer serves me. So this was something that I was doing to, because I was searching, trying to understand that information behind the veil that I was feeling. And so I felt like maybe, the energies that were negative were probably holding me back from being able to see that. So I started to consciously release everything that no longer serves me, like from my energy, from my physical environment, from my emotional body, like everything. I started to give permission to release all that no longer serves me. So every time I felt an emotion that I didn't like, I was feeling bad, I was going sinking down into doubt or procrastination, or I was wondering if this is procrastination or what, like I would ask to for the energy to release all that no longer serves me. And I would do it so much that this is how it started to show up in my life, where there was nothing left to clear out from my life, because everything now, if there's anything to clear, then it has to be me on the inside. It has to be something wrong with my way or my being, doing, or my thought process. Okay, so I got here by releasing everything that no longer serves me. I close myself off from everyone and everything to protect my energy. It weighs on me, but I'm holding the fort with my life right now, because that's how heavy and difficult it was to actually disconnect and protect my energy in that time. It's lonely, but I won't compromise. The price seems too high, because you never know, because the energy was so raw and vulnerable, that if somebody was having a bad day or negative energy, it's not that I didn't want to be there for them, but I would get sucked into that energy too, which I didn't want. And this is something that happens with me when I read for people or even do collective readings for the channel. Also, I carry the reading with me uh, long after it's over. So, some days I choose to fall, and that is out of choice. So so another thing, that my life became so quiet at this time that like literally nothing was happening. And I realized that I had the opportunity to choose the drama in my life, or choose the chaos in my life, or choose whatever I wanted in my life at that time. Okay, so it was very quiet for very long, and I was really missing having people to talk to and having company and just hanging out. I knew it's not like I had to compromise in that area, because like try as you might, what's not is not, right? And so I wouldn't be able to have those kind of conversations. But then like I also wanted to interact with people. Like I really missed people in my life. And so if I had a problem or an issue at that time, like it's something that I was choosing. I had the ability to choose. I hope this is making sense. Right? So I was choosing situations that difficult, that were could have been a very difficult situation. If I had a lot going on, then this would be one more irritation adding to it. But like, but now that that nothing was going on, like I had room for this thing, these kind of energies. Like if I chose to have it in my life at that time, is what I'm trying to say. And so I'm writing, I choose to fall out of choice. I do the other thing, but I always know I need to get back to me. So I always, like, whenever I choose chaos, in allow chaos or a different energy or a lower vibration to come into my space in that time, I know that this energy cannot stay, and it's probably just for those few minutes or just for that day, and then it needs to go because I need to get back to me. So I always was a new, like in this ability and capacity, I would choose. So I knew how it was going to, again, you can refer my previous videos where I was talking about making conscious choices, where you know where it's gonna land, so you can actually measure your actions and know what the outcome to, or gauge, to a certain point, what the outcome of your actions are. I've already talked about this in my previous video. So coming from there, I was able to choose how much negative stimulation I wanted for that's a better way to say it, how much negative stimulation or negative energy I wanted in my day or my time, that I could handle at that time, like just because I wanted to. Okay, so I feel this in and out is necessary to feel alive. So the reason why I was choosing to, you know, allow a certain level of negative energy, or lower, I wouldn't say negative, I think that's very wrong thing to say. Lower vibration or denser vibration is a better way to say it. There was the reason I was choosing to do this is because, like, you cannot have a flat line. It only happens when you're dead. You cannot have a flat line. You gotta have the ups and downs. And trust me, like, I realized this when my life became so quiet and nothing was happening, and it was a flat line at that time, that I was choosing lower vibration, consciously choosing. Like, I realized that you have to have the ups and downs. You have to have the struggle to appreciate the peace. You have to have the noise to appreciate the peace. You have to have the chaos to appreciate the calmness and the quiet. And this was necessary to feel alive, because the isolation can get very numbing, very numbing, because things don't phase you anymore. That's where the energy takes you, where those quiet days take you. I should have talked about this in the beginning. You know, there was there what it does to you is, because there's so much awareness right now, okay? Your awareness is so expanded about yourself and your environment. Your awareness is so expanded that when you feel a disturbing emotion inside of you, you cannot react to that emotion because you know where the emotion is coming from. Okay, so I used to feel depressed. So, depression, like the energy of depression, would creep up, and I couldn't give in to the energy because like obviously I've cut myself off from people, right? I'm not talking to anybody, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not doing anything. So it's natural that I would be depressed. The reason I'm not doing it, I needed to protect my energy. That's the reason I'm doing it. And but then there is depression because of this happening. And so I was at a space where I could see the depression and see the reason for it, and I couldn't react. I could only feel it. So you're feeling sad, you're feeling lonely, you're feeling all of those things, but not enough to actually do, you know, get into, get back to that lower, like lower your frequency. Not enough to lower your frequency. So it takes you to a point where you're seeing both these emotions, and when you see that, it becomes very numbing, you know. If it goes on for a very long time, it becomes very numbing because you learn so much control over your emotions that you can no longer react to sadness, because you understand sadness. And like, understanding is a good thing, but there has to be some level of compassion. You have to keep the softness also, you have to keep the compassion also. Like, when it comes to me and controlling my emotions, I understand where the emotions are coming from. But when other people would come up, like when there was something going on with somebody else, I couldn't feel compassion because I was seeing beyond the emotion over there. Okay, there's no black and white way, because it's emotions. There's no right and wrong, and there's no black and white. You just have to be so aware that, and even in that, in all of that awareness, you can still, mess up, and you can still hurt people, and you can still come across like a dick to other people, like an idiot to other people. And you might not think that, because you are, I'm doing this for my protecting my energy, and I'm doing this for myself. But that's the thing, if you don't, if you're unable to hold compassion or share, or you know compassion for another, like, what even is the purpose of you doing all this? I think it's very important for us to still be able to feel, and to feel not just our own feelings, but to feel other people's feelings also, because that's what makes us human. And we are a collective, and that is what makes us part of the collective, is to be able to understand somebody else's pain also, because you understand your own pain. So I felt like it was important for me to have that, allow chaos or interaction for the sake of me still being connected to the environment around me. But yes, I'm like extremely grateful for the ability to choose the amount of chaos and the level of chaos, and where to bring it in from. We generally do not have that choice in our lives, but to be able to come to a point where you can make it so that you have the ability to choose that, I think, like, I'm very grateful to be able to come to that space or that place. So, more essentially, I think, this time that I'm in the word, I feel like there's a mastery to the emotions. There's a, like, to be able to see your emotions and not react, like, to really be able to, like, it was literally like you're an annoying child and I'm not going to let you, like, there's a part of you that's annoyed by the behavior of that child, but you see that child and you understand that it's a child and where it's coming from, and so you're not going to give in. Like, literally, that was what was happening, what was happening. And I think that that was the mastery over the emotions. What else was happening in that time? Meditations were not very helpful. It wasn't working, So if you guys feel like I'm not meditating, I don't know what's happening, like, there comes a point in time where meditations were not helping. It wasn't working for me, at least. Like, I don't know about any, this is again my experience, my journey. You might have a different opinion. That's completely up to you, and that's what we're here to do: find our own way, find our own experience, own journey, our own strengths, and how to make it work for us, right? So in that thing, meditations didn't work at one point. It wasn't, I was trying to keep the flow of sitting in meditation, but I don't think it was really doing anything for me. It became more of a mental, like, I was literally living in my mind. It was a very mental space that I was living in all of these months, like everything happening. And because it was so much in my mind, I feel like my body has come to a point where it just gave up. My body is like, no, I don't need to do anything right now because this is a mental time right now. And so now that I'm, like, trying to come back to me, that the body is struggling with coming back into action, because there's this fear of, is the message going to flow? Can I sit there? Can I talk? Are people going to listen? I haven't gotten anywhere. Why should I talk about this? Not why should I talk about it, but like what is the point if it didn't do anything for me, right? But it's not like it hasn't done anything for me. It's done a lot for me, with where my life is right now and where my energy is. So um, yeah, and things are getting crazy. Things are starting to get crazy. More people are starting to experience, and so if you have experienced it, you know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I think there was a lot of download that was happening in that time, and that's why the mind went blank and there was no action in the body, also. Like, everything just went within. And I feel like now the energy is clearing up. It is time for me to move out of the mind and into the body now, because I try to understand what is this download that just happened, or what is this information that just came. And I feel like that is something, like, the message that I received, what that was that that is something that will be revealed through my actions. Like, it would happen in the moment, it would happen in the interaction, in the day-to-day way of living life, is when the downloads or whatever happened, or whatever that message or that information was, is will show up. And this time that I was sitting in this space holding this energy was, me taking it in and sucking it in. That is exactly how it felt like, uh, to me. So, in searching for that information that I was trying to reach, I thought there was new information. And then recently, I realized that it is now time. I realized that the information was not new. I was getting the same messages were coming back, things that I already knew. I was remembering them, and that needs to be put into action right now. So my body needs to go into action. My life needs to go back into action right now. and the energy that I and the understandings that I have need to now be put into action in the next phase of my life in a different way, a different application to that understanding, if that makes sense. And I feel like that is how we move up levels, where you go through one level, you take the lesson, and then you go through another situation, you apply that lesson, and it takes you up the level. Okay, so it's not like, there's going to be different, there might be different information, but most of the time it's the same information that is repeated every situation, every lesson, we go through will repeat the same learning until you master it, so I feel like we master, and the reason why it takes so long is that we are mastering each lesson, one awakening at a time, one phase at a time. I don't know how to um, put this, but this is my understanding from this experience. Like, it really taught me mastery over my awareness, over the, like, to understand my surroundings and my situation, to be able to become so good at guessing where my actions are going to land, and so planning every move according to what it is that I want to create in the next moment or the next day or in the coming months of my life, energetically. Okay, energetically, because it's not about I want a big house. Okay, then you work towards the house, so you physically do the work. But when you get into the house, maybe you're happy, maybe you're not, maybe you like it, maybe you don't. What do you want to feel when you have the house? That's an energy, that's a feeling, that's an energy. And so if that's your goal, then what is the energy you need to build or master towards that goal that you can sustain when you achieve the goal, you know? Okay, yes, very important thing that I learned during this time, again, because the consciousness shifted within, was to listen to my intuition, to understand what I was feeling around certain people, places, and situations, what I was feeling in certain decisions that I was making, how to how to trust that source is flowing through me, and how to allow source to flow through me. Something like, it's a very fine line, it's a very thin line. And I'm not saying that I have completely mastered it. Maybe I'm gonna go and get into the void again to be able to master this, but like I have come to a space where I feel like a lot of things have happened now in my life on a day-to-day basis, small things that have actually helped me move into a better space. Sometimes they have saved me from unwanted chaos and situations, only because I felt like I shouldn't be here, or I shouldn't go there, or I shouldn't do this, or I shouldn't say this. If I made a plan and I suddenly feel not so, like there's something bothering me about the plan, I cancel. So yeah, even in my work situation also, intuitively being somewhere and intuitively doing something that would get me out of a situation that could have really messed things up for what it is that I'm trying to create in my life. I wish I had a better example for this right now, but there's so many things, like, and it's so small, it's very small things that I don't know which one to choose, like whether making a decision to stay longer in office or leave earlier from office, or move to the right side of the bus, or avoid certain people, or avoid certain foods, or there's so many things, little things, where the um, intuition was flowing. Okay, where I was allowing the intuition to flow, going with the intuition, and then realizing how it worked in my favor, how it turned out to be good for me. So having those little realizations, not always was it that the intuition was flowing. Okay, there are certain times where you want to do something but your intuition is telling you otherwise, but then you want to do it, and so now you don't know what to really do. Should I go with intuition, should I? And then what I would do is I would allow myself to, if I couldn't feel like which was the right decision to make. Generally you feel like there's a certain tightness that happens in your body or in your energy, where you want to feel okay but you're kind of not feeling okay. It's a very underlying feeling over there. Okay, but when you cannot understand that feeling because you so want to do the opposite, but then you also know that's, like, it's not a very good choice at this time, especially because you're in the void and everything that you put your energy into is going to materialize. For the moment you might think it's good, but when it does happen you're going to realize that it's not. And I've had a lot of things, a lot of experiences. I've also talked about these in some of my videos, where I thought that I wanted that, but then when I didn't get it, and then I realized that thing wouldn't have actually served me. So because I know that mistake that I made, I was aware of that mistake. I knew that in spite of me wanting the opposite of what my intuition is telling me, it's not such a smart thing to go against this energy. Not right now. Like I'm at a time where, because I'm so strongly trying to create what it is that I want, like, if I know something is stupid, there's like a very small chance that it might not be stupid. Like, I am not going to, I'm not going to take the chance. Okay, so now you might say, but if you don't take a chance, how would you know, right? Absolutely. That's the reason why I allow the energy to do what it needs to do, or to take me where it needs to take me in that time. So, say, suppose if I need to meet somebody, I want to meet the person, but I'm not sure if this is a good idea or not because of previous whatever. There's a bit of, everything is not all spiritual. There is a bit of logic, there is experience, there's a lot of things that come into that 1 second decision. There's a lot of things that come in, that make up that decision that you take. All right, so yeah, so say suppose if I need to meet somebody and I'm not really feeling it, but I'm like, oh no, what the hell, let's just go. But then if I don't know, then I'd be like, spirit, if I need to go, take me. If this is not where I'm supposed to be, show me. And true enough, either the irritation will build up where I will cancel, or the other person will cancel, or like, or I have enough motivation to get ready and go, and then things are, it's not as bad as I imagined it to be, and then I know that it's okay to be here. Okay, so that is something that became very, very strong. Like, that is something that was happening a lot in this time, where I felt like that was a lesson that I was learning this time in the void. So, all that being said, where I am right now is there is something happening. Like I haven't yet got what it is exactly that I'm looking for. But where I am, I've said this before also, is very quite like as if it's giving me space and it's making space for something to come in, to happen. Like even though I'm not there, I don't feel like it's not gonna happen. Yes, there is doubt. I'm not 100% confident. But again, like I said, this is mastery of trust and patience. Oh, yeah. So I was about to end this video, and then I realized another thing that was happening is I live with my mom. My mom lives with me, however you want to put that. We became very in sync with each other, in the sense that sometimes I don't need to use words. Like I would think of something and my mom would do it or get it or ask about it or say it. Or there were times where she was thinking of something and I would just randomly go up to her and say, "Did you want this? Did you ask for this? Did you need this?" Uh, and so that happened a lot. Like food. So if I'm thinking like tomorrow I want to eat this for lunch, but I haven't yet told her because I don't know how much effort because I don't want her to the next day she's cooking that for lunch or making that for dinner, you know. So this started happening a lot. Yeah. And also another thing, like talking about energy becoming very sensitive, talking about my energy becoming very sensitive and why I needed to protect my energy so badly during that time is because one day, this happened once in December, that a number of days, okay, I was picking up an energy of suddenly I went somewhere, I went to visit a friend, I was coming back, and while I was coming back on the way, the visit was good, we had a good time, we spent a good time, and coming back, and then suddenly I felt this sadness in my emotions, and I didn't know why I was feeling this. I didn't understand, and I knew it wasn't mine because I wasn't feeling sad at that time. Nothing in my life was sad at that time. Like I just had a good time, spent some good time with my friend. How do I put this? What are the words? So I'm not feeling like this is not my energy, but I was feeling it. So and it was coming up like it was coming till here where I wanted to cry, but the moment I was noticing what the like this energy, it would subside. So I'm not crying, I'm not sad, but then that feeling of something, like what just happened, like it would be a split second that it would if just come up like that and die down, and it would come up to the point where I want to cry and it would die down. That was even more annoying because I wanted to cry but the tears weren't coming because it wasn't my emotion. So this was happening a couple of days, and then and I didn't understand what it is, but I knew I was picking up somebody's energy around me. This is not my energy because like there was absolutely nothing that I could search internal and externally that was causing me grief in that time, because everything I was consciously doing. So if there's no people, if I'm like sad, la la la, all of these things, like I'm choosing that. So there was no point where I had sadness of this kind where I wanted to burst and cry, but the tears weren't coming. That like every time I would notice the sadness and ask like, where is this coming from? It would just vanish, like as if it felt like as if it didn't want to be seen. So one day I was sitting in meditation, and the same thing happened. And in meditation, my tears tears came down, and then I sat there and tried to pull this out and ask where it's coming from. And I didn't know where it was coming from. I didn't have an answer, but I like intuitively felt like I needed to heal that, whoever it is. I needed to heal it, release it, cut the cord, and send this energy back. You know, heal it, release it for the person, cut the cord from me, and send the energy back. So I did that, and then I was still very like, it was something that really happened to me, so I really wanted to know where this was coming from. So, and I knew, and I thought like the only person I'm interacting with is my mom at this time. There's like nobody that I'm interacting with, nobody's energy I am carrying. Like even if I'm meeting people, it's only for 1 2 few hours, and then I'm coming back, and so I'm not carrying their energy. Like they do not affect me to the point where I would carry that energy. There was nobody that was affecting me to that point. So I came inside and I asked my mom, like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, why are you asking? And I was like, no, I just want to know if you're feeling sad or anything. And my mom started crying. And she's like, yeah, I'm missing your dad. I'm missing the family being here. I'm missing your brother and his family being here. I'm missing having the family together. It's Christmas, and we're not feeling like it. Nothing's happening. All of these things. And then that's when I realized that that is what I was picking up. She cried. She released the emotions. She released the energy, and then things. I think she released it because I haven't picked that energy up after that, and my mom seems to be fine after that thing. So yeah, that was something that also has been happening at this time. And so like so what I wanted to say is like the time for me to go within and protect my energy was so important, because the energy was so raw. And if I that's why I said, if I interacted with people of a lower vibration, I will get sucked into their vibration, because I cannot listen to somebody's problems and say, okay, no, like that problem continues with me until I find a solution to the problem. Like I try and help the person. And so I and being that kind of a person, I needed to cut myself out from conversations that were not needed for me and for my energy in that time. Like I knew I couldn't fit people into my space in that time. Okay, so yeah, that's what I wanted to say from this. Maybe if I think of anything else, I will make another video, but I hope this helps you in some kind of a way and gives you an idea if you have been having these experiences or these thoughts, or if you have them in the future, because I have noticed that my videos are, unfortunately, it's not new information, but then it is moving ahead of time. So I don't know, maybe you need this to hear this now, maybe you need to hear it later on. Whenever you hear this, I really hope it adds some value to your life. If it doesn't, sorry, but I already put the disclaimer in the beginning that this video is basically a documentation of my time in this void, in this time. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, if anybody's watching. If not,